Hi, hello friends. Welcome back to Night Court Narrative. I am Elvish. Hello. I hope y'all are doing absolutely fantastic today. Over here, my god, it hit 103 today and I quite literally feel like I am melting from the inside out. It is so unbelievably hot. But that is okay. That is okay. Today we are discussing Happy Place by Emily Henry. You know, kind of interesting. I mean, it's not necessarily a fact, but kind of interesting fact about this book. I read this book 2 years ago. I got maybe 60% way through and completely DNF'd it, and I was just like, man, I'm so bored. I don't want to do it, whatever. But something about it, I don't know what, but something about it just kept telling me to come back to it. So I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. I came back to it. I did in fact finish it this time. I have thoughts. Also, I was always the physical book person. You know, I only started reading about 2.5-3 years ago. You know, I read kind of growing up a little bit, but I never really had reading as a hobby. So I started reading about 2.5-3 years ago, and I never did audiobooks, could not do it. Happy Place was actually my very first audio book. I do have it on my shelf, obviously, but for work purposes at the time, I had the audiobook, so I went back to it and I was like, let me see. But anyway, let's do this. So as always, we do slight spoilers, so if you don't like that, yes, you are warned. But Happy Place is about Harriet and Wyn. They are absolutely perfect for one another. They are the happy-go-lucky relationship that everyone wishes that they had, and or the ones that you see in the movies. However, they did break up about 6 months ago, and they have yet to tell any of their friends. However, each year they do go on this friendcation in Maine. This year, Harriet and Wyn had plans of Harriet going alone and spending the time with the friends because, you know, they didn't really want to bring the friendcation down, so they decided to split up years, like one person, or like Harriet goes this year, Wyn goes the next year, you know, that sort of deal. But of course, when Harriet gets there, surprise, Wyn is also there, and nobody knows that they're broken up. So they end up sharing the largest room. Obviously, it's very awkward. They decide that they do want to start telling their friends, but we then learn that their two friends are getting married that weekend. So, of course, they decide, you know what? No, let's not tell them because we don't want to ruin their big weekend. So this really starts like awkwardness. There's a lot of banter back and forth. There is a lot of flirtation back and forth. A lot of gyrating on one another back and forth. And eventually it does turn into forbidden spicy time with one another and so on and so forth. Okay, this one is going to be a rough review because how do I put this? It's not the worst book to ever be written. And I do want to put into the universe and like say this is the very first and only Emily Henry book that I have read. So if other books are better, different, whatever the case, let me know. But the writing style was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. The writing style up until possibly chapter 17, specifically 17, the writing style was absolutely amazing. The banter between the friends, obviously Wyn and Harriet, absolutely amazing. I loved it. I found myself chuckling at times. I found myself smiling at times, and I really liked it. You could actually tell the differences between what character was what. Some were obnoxious, like obviously meant to be because they're, you know, overly obnoxious friends. You know, everyone has one. But some of them were chill, some of them were obnoxious, some of them were outspoken, not outspoken, whatever the case. And I really did like the fact that even though there wasn't a lot of complexity, I guess, behind each character, you can still tell the difference with the mannerisms and the personality. So I really did enjoy that. My point with the book, or like I guess my main issue with the book, is once chapter 17 hits, and I felt this way the first time as well. Once chapter 17 hits, it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. The only difference is that you do get some spice, obviously, and whatever, but it's just the same thing over and over again. Like, she attempts to do something to get him and then says, no, we can't. And then he does something to eventually get to her. No, we can't. And like, it's just the same fucking thing over and over again. And to me personally, it ended up feeling like the exact same argument over and over and over again. And I don't know why, right? When chapter 17 hits, like from 1 to 17, it was phenomenal. I absolutely loved every second of it. I was like, damn, okay. I was thinking about it. I was like, damn, you know, this book might actually be better than what I originally thought it was. Cool. And then, of course, I get to the point where I stopped last time, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, why did I stop the last time? I continue, like, nothing happens. And I know my opinion is super unpopular because I know that, especially on Book Talk, this is a very popular book, and I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to shit on the author. Again, this is the only book I've ever read by her, so I'm not incredibly sure what her other books are like. But I don't know. I loved how super cute and fluffy the atmosphere was in this book. I really loved, like I said, the personalities between everyone. Everyone meshed so well together, and it just felt like a vibe. But then, you know, it just halfway through, all of the freshness that we felt between like the fights, the banter, all of that, all of the freshness just disappeared. And like, it got to the point where I could just easily guess the next 3 chapters and get 95% of that material, or like what was in said chapters, correct. And I ended up feeling incredibly boring, or like bored, you know, like, I don't know. I know that really sucks because, like, again, everything was perfect. Like, I really had the thought process that this book, based off of 1 through 17, it could have easily, for me personally, been a 5-star read the second time around. And I really, really, really wanted it. But I don't know. It just felt so monotone, and it felt like it lacked everything. Like, the monologue changed, the dialogues changed, the atmosphere changed, like everything. Just like, it kind of, for me personally, it felt like I just hit a wall and like nothing happened. And even the ending of the book, like, I felt nothing. Like, I was like, okay, is it finally over? And then, thank you for listening. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, okay, like, it breaks my heart because I literally went out of my way to reread this book. I wanted to give it another chance because there is a new Emily Henry book. I think it came out a few months ago. I really, really want to read it, and I want to give it a chance, but I'm very scared of paying for the book when it's going to be the same thing, or if it is going to be the same thing. So I wanted to give this book another chance and see, like, maybe if it was a flop or something. Maybe, like, you know how some authors have really good books and some, like, the same author has, like, kind of books. I was hoping that this one was going to be like the others are great, but then everyone is praising this book, and I feel like I'm missing something completely. I don't understand. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Happy Place is basically a second chance romance. Yeah. I feel like Wyn is completely flat and very, very, very fucking boring. He has little to no personality at all. Like, everyone else has great personalities, and then you have Wyn. He kind of just sucks the playfulness out of the book, and yeah. And then, like, the entire book too, Harriet was literally the only one doing anything the entire time. Like, anytime anything were to happen, it was Harriet going out of her way to make any move possible, and Wyn was just like standing there like a fucking cardboard box. And then, like, she's over here like, oh my god, yeah. And then, like, Wyn is just like, you know? Like, I'm just like, bro, like, it's just, I don't know. And I do feel like Harriet kind of lacked something. I don't know necessarily what it was, but she kind of lacked something. It could have easily been like maybe self-esteem, or maybe I don't know. She just felt very pushover-ish, and she just felt like, I don't know how to describe it. She very, very lacked. She very much lacked something, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I really wanted to like this book. I really did. And I gave it a second chance, but I can't. And I know that breaks probably people's hearts, and I would definitely love to hear why you liked this book, or if you fucking don't like this book like me and you want to discuss it. Like, I'm sorry, I really tried. And I mean, as you can probably see from this review, I'm doing everything I can not to shit on the book, but I just, oh, you know, I'm sorry. I'm so heartbroken. So if you have made it this far in the video and you really think I should try the new Emily Henry book that came out, let me know, because I'm down to try it. I'm never opposed. There's only a few authors that I just ultimately 1000% without a doubt refuse to buy any books from them, but Emily Henry is not one of those people yet, because obviously I can't judge one author by, or an entire author by one book that they made, because everyone's always going to have that one thing that maybe just wasn't their best work. So, or with that also being said, if you know what Emily Henry's best work is, or like even if it's a personal opinion of yours, let me know and I will gladly give it a shot. But yeah, I felt like this was going to be a good book to kind of wrap up summer with. I know we are finally here in September. We are finally in the fall era of our 2025 year. So we are now going into our spoopy books and hopefully our Christmassy books here soon. So please let me know, because I'm very, very interested. And of course, as always, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, my friends. Bye.